Got it. All right. Hello and welcome to the Make Guitar podcast. It is the 10th of April as we're recording this. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you, Kirk?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. Yeah. Um, what are you up to today?
Just trying to get my song together and it wasn't coming together. It was so that's all I did is I failed. It's okay. I got a little bit done, but it just wasn't enough, It just wasn't happening.
Yeah, I had a challenge with mine and the end result. I'm not super happy with it, but I uploaded it and I kind of like the beginning of my song. Um, it's the result of a lot of experimentation, and then the rest of it's just kind of you know a lot of iteration of maybe not the best ideas, but uh, it's what it's for. That's what the experience of doing a song a week is. Get your bad ideas out on tape and out of your head.
Yeah. I think you know what it's for me, I gotta just start scheduling time during the week where I'm like an hour on, Thursday night is gonna be dedicated to the song.
Well, you're totally right. The earlier that you get started, the better. Um, So yeah, if you're watching this and you're doing a song a week, um, yeah, try working it in earlier in your week and see how the results improve.
Yeah. Hey, how's your you were working on that circuit board project. How is that going?
It's going fine. I I'm having a lot better time soldering on a printed circuit board than I was soldering, to like potentiometers in a guitar. I'm not the best at soldering. Um, but I've got all the resistors on, and I think my my solder joints will look a little globby, and I don't know if that's going to cause it to not work, but I need to improve my soldering.
I think you're good as long as those blobs don't bridge,
Right.
right? And I think you can clean those up too. So if you just go by and heat them up with the soldering iron and pull some solder off on the tip of the iron, you can wipe it off the tip and then kind of remove a little bit of it if it looks kind of blobbed.
Okay. Yeah, and I do have one of those desoldering um, tubes. I don't know what you call it. The tool that I can't reach it, but you know what it is. This guy. And I used it the other day. I had something that looked like it was bridging because I had so much solder that the two globs touched. But yeah, it worked. It worked very well.
I have one of those too. I got this one.
Yeah, yeah. That looks yours is bigger than mine.
It works really good actually. This one is kind of mighty, you know. I I had resisted getting one of those for years, and then I finally got one, and I don't know why I didn't get it sooner.
Well, they look kind of ridiculous. It's like this big thing of plastic, big tube.
Well, you know what a good technique is for removing solder is you heat it up and then you just whack it on the table.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of ridiculous, but if you have something where there's solder like in like a hole, right? You can heat it up and then just hit it really hard, and the solder like it has some weight, so the mass of the solder kind of like just pulls itself out, you know? And that works pretty good, but not in all situations. Like this thing actually works really good, like for desoldering parts. Like if you have a wire going through a hole and there's solder, like this will pretty much get most of it off.
Yeah, yeah. I have that Range Master, which I need to desolder some parts. So I'll probably use this. I wasn't able to get it the parts off by whacking it against the table.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that building on the circuit board was better than building like on like the strip board or perf board or whatever.
Well, I mean, mainly I was talking about like soldering in a guitar, like when you're,
Oh,
um,
okay.
you have a bunch of wires and you're trying to, uh, solder like a Strat pickguard, or like me, I have the Mustang pickguard, and there's all these different little apertures on the switches that you have to connect, and you know you're fighting things moving around a lot. The solder joints are a lot bigger than they are on a printed circuit board, so I think that's the main challenge. Is just that there's the lugs on like potentiometers um, are a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was going to say for the circuits, lately I've been making my own circuit boards and I've been arranging all the pots so they attach to the board and the LED for the switch attaches to the board. And then I've arranged the off-board connections so that they're kind of like in a logical place for, for making connections to the switch and the jacks and stuff. And so I have the perfect example here. This is, let me see if I can get the light on this, right? Can you see that?
Yep.
So I did this like maybe, remember when we went to the musicians swap meet at Gilman Street?
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago the one at Gilman Street was, but I built this back then, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
been
got to
at
be
least
like
2 years, 2 or 3 years.
it's got to be more than two. It's like more like 7 or, you know,
Okay.
but I built this back then and I did my own circuit board, right? So you can kind of see it underneath this rat's nest, but all the pots are connected by wires, right? Because they're not mounted to the board. So I had to run all these wires. So it just looks like this mess in there, right? Um, and then this is the same circuit that I have in here, right? So I redid the same circuit because this actually sounds really good, believe it. It doesn't look great, but on the inside, but it sounds excellent, right? And so I thought like I'd do an updated circuit board. So this is what the updated circuit board looks like. Maybe if I turn this light on here, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, you've come a long way.
that's like a lot cleaner, right? And this is easier to put together. Like, so just putting it together was easier, wiring it and understanding it was a lot easier. Taking it apart to fix it or make changes was easier, right? So yeah, making a board and mounting the stuff to the board is really good. Like, so if you have a circuit board, like a well-made circuit board, that beats the pants off of, not having a circuit board, right? Or a poorly designed circuit board.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that while I was working on this delay. I'm at the point now where I'm gonna be soldering on um, well the next baggie. It's the capacitors, diodes, the IC, and then the pots. And the pots look like this. So I have a feeling these are going to be soldered. I mean, I'm going to be wiring these to the circuit board. I don't think that there's a place on the PCB for them.
Yeah, show me the PCB. Okay, so what I'm guessing is that the pots go to those everywhere you have a circle that just has one hole in the middle of it. That's
Mm-hmm.
like an off-board connection, right?
Okay. Yep.
And it's hard to tell which go where, but like you have to look it up. They'll be labeled. But I'm willing to bet you have to run a wire to those pots, and then they gave you those pots with those little tiny things on, like just little tiny legs. So it'll be really
Yeah.
hard to solder to those,
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
right?
I'm not. I'm not looking forward to that.
I have a suggestion for you. I don't know if I have it, but like right here, but oh, here, this would be perfect. Okay. So this is a tiny piece of strip board, right? Okay. So
Okay.
imagine you had a piece of this that had 3 stripes on it and 2 holes. So you could plug the pot into here. Actually, you know what? I have one of those pots on my desk here. You know what? I even think I have one that has the situation that I'm talking about. Maybe not. Let me see here. I guess I don't have one that's soldered the way that I'm thinking, but like, okay, so you have one of these with these tiny
Yep.
little legs, right? But if I, you know what I got to do is I got to straighten out these legs here. If you take one of these and you plug it so the holes go through, so the legs go through the holes like this, then you can connect the wires to the little strip at the bottom through the hole along the bottom.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I've done this before and it works really good. So I could give you some of this, or if you have some strip board, you can just cut some pieces. So like whenever I cut this, there's always like a couple extra pieces that aren't good for anything. So I save them and I make a thing like this whenever I want to do that thing with the pots. So like I could cut this into one tiny little strip like this, you know, and then I could make another one, right? Like I could make this into 2 of these maybe, right?
What do you cut the perf board with?
I just use my wire cutters.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I could cut this one right now, you know, like, you know, sometimes I cut it like halfway through the stripe, like on the holes. Because if you try to cut right between the stripes, sometimes it breaks unevenly,
Right.
you know? So sometimes I give it like a little bit of slack and like I'll cut it like right here, you know, right along the edge where the holes are. I don't know if you can
Right.
see that, you know? But this works really good. I've done it before, you know? Um, so I would recommend that as a method, you know?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the build instructions for this pedal are really it's really lacking quite a bit compared with you know, like um the build diagrams that you see on like a Mad Bean or something like that, where they actually show you how to set up the box. Um, and yeah, so you've got your parts list. It shows you where they go on the board, but then these things are just kind of floating out there in the air, and you have to, you know, kind of figure out how to
Yeah,
set up your box and all that.
yeah, that's not, yeah, that documentation leaves a little bit to be desired.
But yeah, I gotta work through it. I don't know. It's nice to just have all the parts that I need for it. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to getting getting onto like some of your projects because um, obviously you have the documentation, and I think you were going to put the drill guides on the on your website.
Yeah, I've done that for some of the projects. I just got to get caught up on making the artwork for that, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I think my boards are easier to put together. I mean, not to,
Yeah.
you know, plug myself, but looking at what you have there and looking at what I have, like this is like so much easier. Like, you know?
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know what the wiring on this is going to look like. It's difficult to tell from this. I mean, it does have a place to mount the switch onto the board, um, but the LED and the pots and the jack, and then of course the battery snap are all off-board things. So got to do all that.
Yeah. Well, you know, at least the switch you won't have to wire because it's part of the board.
Right.
You know, I think it's part of the way they built that board. So that board is going where the traces are on the bottom and the parts are on the top. So in order to connect the the pots to the board, you need really long legs. So they sell, these pots here, this is like the typical one, right? And if you look
Mm-hmm.
at it, like the legs right here go through the board, but that doesn't leave much room. The board is like almost flush with the bottom of the pot, right? It
Mm-hmm.
would be like right here. They make some of these pots, they're harder to get though, but they have longer legs. So if they wanted to do this kind of pot with legs, you need to get the legs that were you need to get the version that has the long leg, right? Because you're gonna have all your parts. The board will be here, and the parts will be on top between the pot and the board.
Right.
Yeah, like
At
the
least
way.
on that pot, you've got that the shielding. So if it was touching the board or something, it wouldn't short out.
Yeah, that's a problem. They could short out. You can fix that. You can just put some electrical tape on there if you don't have those little plastic dust covers. But like the way I'm working, like the pots will be on this side of the board instead of this side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like this pot would go in here, you know. Actually, in the way I designed this one too, it's going to actually go off the board like this. But in other
Oh, very
cases,
nice.
like it might end up, on other boards, it'll end up like this, right? Where it's on the board, but the parts on the board will be on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
right? Otherwise, like if you did it on this side, you're gonna have a problem, right? You'd need like, the legs don't quite reach. You need like longer legs, and they do sell these pots. It's hard to get the ones with the long legs, or they don't have them in as many sizes. Like the short leg ones like this, they have in like all the sizes.
Right. It seems like a pretty obvious solution to just flip the board over, but of course, not everybody's has thought of that.
Yeah, yeah. So you're working on that. So I guess you got the resistors in. Good work.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that
Do
was
the
an easy one.
diodes. Do the diodes next, and then do the do if you
Yeah, there's
if
only
it,
two.
yeah, if it came with sockets, then do the sockets after that, and then do the capacitors. So
Okay, I was wondering about that.
think about the height of each part, and you want to do the lowest ones to the highest ones.
Right. Yeah. It did come with sockets, so yeah, that would be the next thing after diodes that would be taller. The capacitors all look pretty big, and I got my multifunction tester ready to just make sure that I get all the right values in the right places. It is nice because that they put the quantity of included parts on this parts list, so you can kind of you know get a head start on choosing the parts based on how many there are.
Nice. So you're just testing each one with the tester to see what the value is before you
Yeah,
plug it in. Yeah, okay, good
yeah,
good practice. I used to do that, and then now I work faster, but at the beginning I used to do that. I'd test every single part, and it does slow things down, but it's kind of good. You kind of learn along the way doing that. So I think it's a good practice.
yeah, yeah. And they didn't label the parts the way that, or the capacitors the way that they did the resistors, because they have labels on them, but you just have to have a magnification system in order
Yeah.
to see the text on the parts.
Yeah, the little numbers, if you're old, you have old people eyes, like the numbers are really tiny. They're small.
Yeah, I
And they
can't
have
see
like
them with these glasses.
they have a weird, like a goofy number system too. It'll be like J100 or 103. Like, and you're like, well, what is 103? And it's like the first two digits are the number, and then the third digit is how many zeros to put after it.
Oh,
So
okay,
103 is 10,000. 102 is 1,000.
interesting. The instructions don't totally help you out with what it says on the part number, but it does have in parentheses after some of these parts, like um, the 0.001 UF. It's got 102. So there are little
Oh,
hints here.
yeah. So that's good. So if it's a 102, that means it's like a 1,000 nanofarad capacitor, I think, right?
Sure.
I might be wrong. I know I'm bad at that too, but that's generally how it is. I usually just go with what's on the label on the bag. So like all
Yeah.
my bags have parts in them and they're all labeled. So I just go with that. And usually it's the right. Yeah. Hey, so what else are you working on? You got any other projects?
Uh, I haven't gotten anything else going. I was gonna try to work on my acoustic um, tomorrow. I want to replace the bridge with a bone bridge, and I already made a nut. So just want to put that back together. I don't think I'm gonna put the pickup in it tomorrow, but I don't know. I was talking about getting together with Dan in the park and playing acoustic guitars, and yeah, I've got that, or I could bring my bass, but I don't know. The acoustic bass is really uh, it's not very effective acoustically, so yeah, I think I might be working on my acoustic. How
Nice.
about you? What are you working on?
Oh, I got a few things, you know. I made some boxes. Hey, I was going to ask you, did that delay came with a box, right? Was it pre-drilled?
No, it's not
Oh, so
pre-drilled.
you got to drill it. Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let me know if you need help with that. You know, because I was going to say I did some boxes this weekend, so I don't know if you can quite see the pattern on there,
Oh,
but
that's cool.
I milled this with kind of like a wave kind of pattern, you know.
I like it.
Um, and then I did another one too, and this one you can see like the pattern was like offset, and I was
It looks intentional.
at first I was like shit, and then I was like, well, you know, I'm just gonna leave it like that, and then maybe it'll be kind of cool, you know. So I did another one. This one I milled it a couple times so the engraving is kind of deeper. You know, it was like an experiment just to see how it would look, right? And then I did another one like that, but this one is like shallower. It's not as deep, right? So the groove, you know, the engraving is like shallow and not as wide, you know.
Yeah, I think I like the shallower one, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm gonna
it's hard.
put in those boxes yet, you know. So that I just did them as an experiment just to try and do a pattern. Yeah, the those patterns they take like maybe 40 minutes, you know, to do on the mill, so they're not fast.
Well, it's a lot faster than painting them, masking them, and then I guess repainting them. I don't know. I haven't done it, but Steve does that thing with the Cricut text to mask um, for letters and other graphics. Um, that seems like it would be probably more time consuming than the mill.
Maybe, you know, I did another one too. I did another one of these kind of like the Joy Division, like Unknown Pleasures cover. You know, I kind of
Hmm.
modified the design a little bit. Like I gave a little more space on the sides here and kind of squeezed the mountainous range into the middle, you know. Um, and I thought this one came out good. I don't know what I'm gonna put in there yet, but I did that.
It looks great.
Yeah, I thought it came out
So
okay. You know, yeah.
with any of those, you're going to have to put it back on the mill to put labels on it, right?
You know what? I'm not gonna do any labels. They're just gonna be
Okay.
unlabeled,
Okay.
you know. They're just
Yeah.
the experimental one, you know. I might put it back on the mill to mark where to drill.
Oh, okay.
So I might just and it'll just put like a little circle at wherever the holes need to be, right?
Yeah.
Marking the drill spots only takes like a minute. Oops, it takes like a minute or two. It's like pretty fast. So
Okay. Well, they look really cool. I think those would be good for like boost pedals or any pedal where you don't need a lot of knobs.
oh okay,
You don't
maybe.
want you don't want knobs messing up your beautiful
Yeah,
surface.
yeah, I know what you mean. Hey, speaking of boost pedals, you know what? I just tested this thing. I made this a while ago, but This is a thing, it's called The Crank. It's by a guy named Mark Hammer. It's kind of a DIY project, right? And it's kind of a booster with a little bit of overdrive to it, you know? So it has a little bit of like grit, you know? It's not totally clean, but it's mostly boost. It's not distorted, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Not fully distorted.
Cool.
There's a little bit of distortion, a little bit of grit, you know?
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
it's kind of good. I made a circuit board for this. Here's my circuit board here, right? So this came out okay, except I made a mistake because there was a cryptic. Okay, so my mistake is that the uh, the volume and the gain pot work backwards,
Oh, okay.
right? So if you turn this one down all the way, you turn the gain all the way up, and then if you go this direction, it's all the way low. For the volume control, I actually fixed it on this box by clipping off the ends of the pot and then just running a wire to the opposite sides, you know, and that worked. But this pot is a dual gang pot, so it has 6 legs on it, right? It's got twice as many legs, so it was harder to reverse this one, so I just left it alone. But this was the board, so the board came out good and it all works except for it's backwards, so it needs an update to get the board really to where I'd want to share it with people. But otherwise, this sounds pretty good. You know, it's got it. If you're into like low gain sounds, this could be your pedal. You know, it's like the low gain drive. You know, um,
Okay.
so
Yeah, I'd
and
like
it's
to hear it.
yeah, it sounds okay. You know, maybe I'll loan it to you guys. You know, and you could try it out at the studio. You know,
Sure. Yeah, I'll give it a try.
I feel like I'm not getting the most out of it because I'm playing it through my amp at home at low volume, but I feel like it might sound best if the amp was like edge of breakup and you had the volume up high enough where the boost would kind of make the amp crunch, you know, and then you'd mix a little crunch from the pedal in there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I use a Blues Junior, and I'm not using. It's not like in my pedal chain right now, but I tend to use like a Blues, blue or sorry, um, a what's it called? I'm having a brain fart.
Didn't it the Booster Grande?
No, no, uh, my Plimsoll is one. It's a tube screamer.
Oh, yeah.
As my, that's kind of a part of my sound, and they say that if you're using a tube screamer, that you should have your amp kind of at the edge of breakup. Um, Otherwise, it kind of sounds like crap. And I don't know if I would say that, but it does, it definitely does benefit from having the tubes kind of um, warmed up already.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'll maybe if we meet up I'll hand this off to you and you can try it out, you know. Like I said, you got to remember the gain control is backwards.
Yeah, but the volume control is normal.
Yeah, the volume I fixed it, so the volume works normally. But and again, like you could turn the gain all the way up or down, right? Okay, and then it won't like a lot of pedals. You turn the gain to the extreme, and it's like super distorted. Like this will never do that. It'll
Hmm.
get a little tiny distortion, you know, but not a lot. You know, it will get louder though.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway, yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you guys a chance to try that out. You know, just to test it, and we can talk about it. You know, get some other opinions on it. You know. You know what else I was working on was I was working on I had milled this pedal, and so I thought I'd build an ugly face into this because I had this ugly face board half built. So I put it in here, and you'll notice it's not finished because I realized when I built this, I was totally out of power jacks.
Oh.
So I'm just like one jack shy. Otherwise, this would be all wired up. So so I put an order in for some power jacks, and we'll have to wait till they come in, you know.
Well, if we meet up before, I'll bring you one. I've got power jacks.
Oh, do you have some?
Uh huh. Yeah.
Okay, I ordered some, so they should be here pretty soon, This was another experiment, just doing like weird, kind of abstract design on the pedal. So I thought I'd
Yeah, I
just
like it.
experiment with that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's kind of like an eye.
It does look kind of, yeah, it looks kind of, I don't know, a little cryptic or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, pedal design. I mean, there's so much you can do. I think it's sort of like like beer can microbrew um, design. Um, there's a lot of history, and there's really no limits to what you can do. But um, I think a lot of designers, pedal designers, are kind of pushing the envelope with crazy psychedelic images, um, kind of the iconic style, or um, or just kind of like minimalist, like bold graphics kind of style.
Yeah. Hey, do you know, you've heard of Catalan bread?
Yes,
Um,
I don't have any of their pedals, but I'm definitely familiar with them.
well, okay, so um, who was it? I was looking at, there's a guy, okay, so it's kind of a long story, but Catalan bread, they had a lot of pedals that they put out, and they had a lot of creative designs, right? And I have a couple of their things. The quality is really pretty good. The guy that ran Catalan bread, he kind of died in a freak accident.
Oh
Like,
no.
I don't remember. It was something like he was driving and a branch fell on his car. It was just totally random, you know. And then his mother inherited the business. And then from what I understand, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but from what I understand, like she didn't get along with a lot of the people that worked at the company.
Okay.
And there's a guy, Howard G, I think is his name. Howard G. He worked at Cattle and Bread, and he used to do a lot of the demos for them, right? So he'd do a lot of video demos of their product. And he seemed like a really cool guy. And I guess he really didn't get along with with the mother that had taken over, right? And then there was some deal where she sued him and this other guy. They had left the company, and she sued them, like, over like some sort of like intellectual property from Cattle and Bread or something, right? But anyway, this Howard guy, he started his own company called Kitty Caster Effects, like Kitty Stratocaster, Kitty Caster
Mhm.
Effects, right? And he just came out with two new products. One was like, what was it called? One I think is called the Trem Driver,
Hmm.
and the other one is the Wizard something. I'm looking for it right now. Let's see. Let me see here. Give me one. Sorry, I should have had this ready. Um, because I was just looking at it like the other day. It just came out. Um,
Does Kitty Caster have a product line already, or are these kind of like, are they just coming on the scene right now?
I think they're new. They're brand new. These
Okay.
are like two new products. They go on sale like really soon, but they're not out yet. I'm trying to find them on the. See, the problem. Oh yeah, one's called the Groovy Wizard, and the other one is the Trem Driver, right? And I think Groovy
Okay.
Wizard is like a kind of like a fuzz pedal, and the Trem Driver is like a tremolo, but it has like like it's been very popular, and this was a Catlin Bread thing. Is they take like the preamp out of one circuit and then put it into a box, with maybe a different circuit. So for example, like they took the preamp out of the Echoplex. Does everybody like the sound of the preamp and the Echoplex? It's just like a couple transistors, but they sound good with guitar. So they put the preamp for the Echoplex like in another box. Like actually they made it just a separate box that's just the preamp, right? And then they made another like Echo, they call it the Bell Epoch, which is, it's like kind of a digital reproduction of the Echoplex, but then they put the Echoplex, like the analog preamp, inside that box. You know, so I think
Okay.
he did kind of a similar thing where he took a couple of these. Maybe I think he didn't say specifically, but it sounded from the way he talked about it is they took a couple of these Echoplex preamps and put them into this trem driver. But
Hmm.
his pedals look really cool. They look super cool.
Okay.
So I looked into those. He did that thing where he had these bent aluminum enclosures. The
Oh, okay.
enclosures look very similar to what's used by B-Tronics. And I was like, where did they get those? I want to try and get some of those. I want to see if I could build something into one of those. They're kind of wedge shaped, but they're
Yeah.
kind of like a little bit like the Electro Harmonix enclosures. It's kind of shaped like this with another box that fits, they kind of fit like this, and there's a couple screws hold the whole thing together.
Right.
Except they're
Yeah.
aluminum rather than steel. I think like the Electro Harmonix ones were all steel.
Okay, so they're cast aluminum.
Not cast, it's like bent.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like sheet aluminum, and they're kind of bent around to the shape.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, I'll check those out. I'm
Yeah, they have.
curious what that sounds like, the trem driver.
Yeah, it does. It's like he plays great guitar though. So like the demos he did were pretty good, but I don't know. They were kind of short. They weren't like super. They just came out, so
Hmm.
it's not like everybody's had a chance to try it yet, and I don't think they're on sale yet either. So they're going to be on sale sometime soon.
Okay.
Let me see if I can
Well,
find. Maybe I can
there's
find.
always room for new gear on the market.
Always room for new. I know, isn't that terrible?
Well, I mean, I think especially now because a lot of people are at home and they have a lot of time to pursue their passions or their hobbies and uh, yeah, like guitars and amps are going fast. Um, and I think companies are responding to it. There's a lot of pedal companies that are cranking out new gear, and guitar companies. So like Yamaha is back on the scene with a new uh, a new model. I mean, they're kind of like uh, they're kind of known for like the Pacifica, and then like back in the day they had like the what's it, the SG 2000, but now they've got another kind of revolution in guitars called the Rev Star. Have you seen anything about that?
No, I haven't seen that.
Um, well, one neat little feature that they have is it has an onboard boost, which uses the power from your amp to amplify your sound.
How do they do
So
that?
it's got a little transformer in it, and
Oh,
it just uses the small amount of current that runs through your guitar to create a boost when you pull up on the pot. Also, they're really well made guitars, and the chambering seems very like it's very like uh, intricate the way that it's chambered out. They claim that it's it's engineered to create the most sonic resonance in the body.
oh,
Yeah,
really?
if you get a chance to check out the the inside of the Revstar, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's also kind of a cool looking guitar, the
Yeah, I'm looking at
cutaway.
some pictures. I'm looking at the pictures right now. That does look pretty cool. Luckily, I'm not buying any gear this year.
Yeah.
So, so I'm off the. Oh yeah, I do see a picture here of some of the chambering. It doesn't look like the whole thing though. Like part of it's covered. Yeah, I wonder what they did. Did they make a computer model or something of the thing?
Um, that's all I can imagine. I mean, how else would you determine what's the most, what's the optimal, you know, um, layout of the chambers, and they're multi-dimensional as well, right? Like they're not just like solid, just holes that are like the same depth all the way through. They're like um, holes within holes,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah. Kind of looks like that. Yeah, that looks cool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That
So
looks-
there's that, and then there's a Paul Reed Smith's got the they have an import version of the Silver Sky, the SE, and there's another. Oh, there's a Mexican-made Fender Acoustasonic. So yeah, there's all these kind of new products that are aimed at trying to fill the gear void um, for hobbyist musicians. I think especially for hobbyist musicians, not people who are like, you know, playing gigs necessarily.
nice. Yeah, I think it's great that people have music as a hobby, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good. Get your creative stuff out with some sound, you know?
yeah, yeah. Get
Yeah,
your yayas out.
yeah. Hey, you know what I found? Actually, I didn't find it. Somebody gave this to me, but they found it at the dump. It's like a foot switch for a Fender amp.
Right.
And I thought like, what if I built something into this? I could build an effect with three foot switches. Maybe I could put some knobs on the backside here,
That would be really cool.
have a couple knobs. Maybe you could do 5 knobs on the back and then have like a boost, a boost, and a boost. Or you
Oh,
could
that's an
do,
idea.
or you could do like an overdrive, a fuzz, and a boost. You know?
Right. Or like you did that one that was it was a fuzz, an octave, and a boost.
Oh yeah, that could be good. Maybe that would fit in here. I don't know if I could get all the knobs on there because that has like 5 knobs and an extra rotary switch. Maybe that would fit. You might be able to
Yeah.
get that to fit. You know. The other thought I had is if I knew anybody with a Fender amp, like maybe it still works and they could use it. Because like if you took it apart, then it's not going to work. It's not going to be a foot switch anymore, right?
That's right. Yeah. Um, yeah, but I mean, you got it for free, so
Yeah, right.
it's a new form factor to experiment with. That could be a fun project.
Yeah. Actually, if you just had 3 effects in there that were useful, you could just take this one box with you everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, It'd just be the one box, and that would be kind of maybe convenient sometimes.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I played with the Flamma a little bit. I have it plugged in here. Actually, unplug it. I was playing with the Flamma. I uh I was having a little trouble at first, and then it took me a while, but then I finally because I even looked it up on the internet, and then I finally realized, oh yeah, they print the options on the side. I didn't see them at first. I'm just turning the knobs, trying to figure out what's what. Is that a Latin beat or is that jazz or is that rock or blue? It's hard to tell.
Hmm.
But then I finally, when I was almost done, I like glanced at the side and I was like, oh yeah, it's just printed right there. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool for what it does. I think it's a good way of like practicing, playing against different beats. Um, I I don't know if I would think it was like I'm not sure if I would use it as a busker because you don't know what the tempo is going to be until it starts playing, right? You have to like kind of um, dial it in and just hope for the best.
Well, it's got a tap button here.
Right.
So you got to tap. At first, I thought that was just a light, and then I realized like you could press this thing, and this sets the tempo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to do it here for some reason, and it wasn't working, and then I realized this was a button, you know. But it does work. I played a little bit with the looper. I was had it just up on my desk though, so it was hard to play and then reach over and
Yeah. Yeah.
slap the loop button, you know. So I wasn't getting too many good loops out of it, but it did work fine, you know. So it was more like user error than or user ineptitude than you know, any fault of the box, you know.
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed about it though is it is possible for it to have kind of like like a gap in the beat. You'd think that with something with a built-in drum machine that it would kind of snap to the nearest beat or something like that. Um, but if you don't clip your loop at the right time, then the beat starts over on an odd time.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I didn't notice because my loops were so bad, but it worked fine though. You know, it worked pretty good. You know, so there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it. I think it did a
I
pretty
I mean
long
it's
loop too. I don't know how long, but it seems like it did a pretty it could do a pretty long loop. You know.
yeah, I think well, I don't have the documentation in front of me, but I think it was like 3 minutes or something like that. Like it's
Wow.
almost a song. Um,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
That's
Or
pretty
maybe
good.
even longer. I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah. Technology is great these days, boy. It's like super
Yeah,
good.
and that was like a $60 pedal.
Wow, $60. What a deal. Yeah, so I think it worked pretty good, you know. I mean, I just gave it one. This is the first test, so maybe I'll play around with it again this week, you know. I almost had the idea to do this week's song with the Flamma,
Oh, that'd be cool.
you know. But then I was
Yeah,
like,
I
well,
was
if
kind
I'm
of
in GarageBand, I might as well just use the GarageBand drums, right?
yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about the idea that we talked about before and using what the System 4 Echo. It has like a minute of delay, is that right?
No, it's just 4 seconds.
4 seconds. Oh, okay, that's right. 4 seconds. Yeah, so I don't really have the tools to do that idea that we were talking about, but you had that you showed me that demo for it was like a 3 minute. It had 3 minutes of delay, and you were saying that with 3 minutes of delay, you could basically record a whole song, and then for the next song, you'd have the previous song playing back throughout your second song.
I was kind of joking, but it did seem possible if you had 3 minutes of recording time, you know, for looping.
Well, I don't know, like the Stone Roses have a song that is another song on their album just backwards, and then they put different lyrics over it, and it's kind of funny. I mean, it's not like humorous, they're not trying to be funny, but it's kind of a funny idea that they executed well.
Well, if you did that with that new the what is it, the Line 6 DL4, like the new version of it,
Hmm.
you can play the loop backwards. It's got a little button. The old DL4 did that too. You double tapped one of the buttons and it played everything in reverse. So you
That's
could do
cool.
that. You could do that song. You could play your song forwards, double tap the thing at the end of 3 minutes, and then play it all, play it again in reverse. You know,
Does it do 3 minutes?
I think the loop is 3 minutes long on that.
Okay. Okay, because that was the thing. I think that Chase Bliss Habit, that was the other one that you shared with me.
Yeah, yeah. The old DL4 didn't do the loop wasn't as long. I think it was like 6 seconds or something, but or no, maybe it was longer. I forget what the numbers were, but I think the new one does like a super long loop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's cool. Yeah. Well, um, maybe I should link to the demo that minus the bear guy doing the demo of the that Line 6 pedal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, speaking of effects, I got this one working, and it's a tremolo, but it's a harmonic tremolo. So it has like a low pass and a high pass, right? And you can kind of like when the depth and the rate right here cycle, that it kind of cross fades from the low pass to the high pass signal and back, right, back and forth. And at first it wasn't quite, it was sounding okay, but kind of subtle. And then I realized, I checked the schematic and I was looking at the parts and stuff, and I realized like the low pass section has a little capacitor in it that does the filtering, and I put the wrong number on it.
Right.
And I labeled the
Okay.
schematic that I made. I put down the wrong value, so I fixed that. And this thing sounds great now. You've got to build one.
Okay. Awesome.
It sounds really good. You might like it. It's different from the standard tremolo. It's kind of like a little bit like the standard tremolo, but a little bit like with a little Univibe flavor mixed in.
Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah, that seems like a worthy thing for me. I love tremolo, so I'm always I'm always up for another style of tremolo. I used a lot of tremolo on my song this week,
Oh, good. Nice.
and then a lot of delay.
Delay is great. I love delay.
Yeah,
I was playing around with this with the tremolo and the delay and the flamma. You know, it sounded pretty good. I was using this Bunar delay.
oh, cool.
This
Okay.
is like a really great delay. I like this one.
Yeah, that's the one that's got the it's a multi-tap delay with those little four buttons in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, right. And you can turn on, like, I guess it's not plugged in, but you could turn on the two outer ones or the two inner ones or the two on the end, for
Yeah,
different.
that's super cool.
Yeah, it is. It's super good. This one just sounds really good too. So it's kind of like my go-to delay right now. You know.
Um,
So
yeah, today I used the Boss RV3.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, that was the delay du jour.
Yeah, with the reverb.
Yeah, it's reverb and delay.
Yeah. Did you like that one? You said you were gonna sell it. You said you didn't like it, but then today you're using it.
I don't think I said I was going to sell the RV3, did I?
I thought so. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I missed.
No, I'm pretty happy with it. I had one a long time ago, and uh, it broke, and for some reason I just never got another one until recently, and I'm digging it.
Nice.
I may have said that it was like, it wasn't going to be on my kind of permanent. It doesn't have a permanent space on my pedal board like the Topanga would be kind of like the amp reverb. Um, but the RV3 is it's kind of like a studio reverb. It's got a lot of um, I don't know. It's more of a spatial effect than a kind of like a sonic color.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe you were just gonna take it off the pedal board, like it wasn't. You know. Nice. So what are you gonna work on this week? You got any projects?
Well, I'm going to work on my reverb or my delay pedal, and I'm going to I got to finish up my acoustic guitar, and um, and I've got some other projects that I'll probably get to, but I'm looking for new gigs. So yeah, going to try to get some work, pay the
Well,
bills.
searching for work sucks.
It does, but it's you know I've got some avenues to walk down, so I'm okay with it. How about you? What are you working on?
Well, like I said, I have a couple pedals, but I'm missing the power jacks. Like I'm all out, so I'm just waiting
Oh
for
yeah.
those to ship and deliver. So I think what I'm gonna do this week is clean my desk.
Oh, okay. That's a good one.
I'm gonna clean up, and then maybe if I have the whole space organized and clean, then then I'll be more productive when I get the parts, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I did
And
too?
you can start on your song too.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I'll start on the song really. You know what I did too, just as a side thing is I forgot to mention this is I needed to buy some op amps and just I need some little chips and I wanted to order them. And what I did is I ordered from AliExpress, which is kind of a little weird, because you go there and they're kind of short on information, but they're big on pictures. Like they show pictures of stuff, but then the descriptions are very terse or they're not well written. So it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. Sometimes it's a little hard to tell what you're buying. But the prices are really cheap. But then it ships from China, so it's like the shipping is really slow, and it seems a little. The whole site seems just a little sketchy. But everything I've ordered from them has always shown up. So so I ordered a bunch of op amps. Like I ordered a lot. Like you know, here's all these op amps I got. So I got a bag of TLO 62s. I got a bag of TLO 72s. I got a bag of like LM 308s. I got this bag of LM 386s, another bag of those. This is a different version of the 386, right? So anyway, I tried it and it was like pretty cheap. Like the chips came out to like, I don't know, even with the shipping, they were like, 16 cents a piece or something. So, I don't know. I'm going to test them out and see if they work. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
like weird stories of people getting like bogus chips sometimes, like where they're kind of mislabeled or they don't work or something. So I'll test them out, you know.
Um, did you get those for any particular projects, or are they just kind of things that you like to have in your inventory for multiple projects?
Yeah, here's some OP 2134s and some TLO TTs. Yeah, so yeah, these are like the 072s are like the bread and butter op amp. They use them in every circuit. And then I have a couple projects now that use the 386. So I can, I have projects to put that in. I have a bunch of those already, but I thought I'd buy some other ones. And then they make that in a couple varieties. Like there's the 386 1 and the 386 4 and the 386 2 or 3. They have several different varieties. Like one of them is like an eighth of a watt output. One's like a quarter watt, a half watt. And I think one of the chips, like the number 4, does a whole 1 watt output. So I don't know. I thought I'd just experiment with a couple different varieties and see if they sound any different. And then the other chips are they're just kind of generic op amps. Like if you build a rat, like the LM308 is kind of the chip from the rat. So I bought a couple of those.
Right on.
You
Cool.
know.
Well, yeah, I've only ever ordered one thing from the AliExpress website, and it was the the delay kit. So I also don't know yet if it works, but um, yeah, I'll definitely let you know if it whether it does or not.
Yeah. So maybe that'll be my thing this week too, is test those chips. Clean up,
That's a good one.
test the chips.
Mm-hmm.
And plan my next projects. Cool. You
Yeah,
got any
it's a
final
week of
words?
planning.
Hey, what did you listen to music this week?
I did. I listened to some good music, and I would recommend listening to. I don't think I mentioned this other one before, did I? Uh, well, no, I'll just move on to this one. Beliefs. Dan's drawn. I don't think that maybe that's a typo. Dan's Drawn Dracula Records. That was the no, it's called Badly Drawn Dracula. That's the name of the record label. But there's a band called Beliefs and another band called Exploded View that I thought were really cool that I found on Bandcamp. And I think they're both on Badly Drawn Dracula. That's
Mhm.
the record label. How about you? You went for a walk yesterday and listened to some music. What did you listen to?
Oh, I listened to some Atomic Bitchwax.
Atomic what?
Bitchwax.
Bitchwax. Okay, that's a band.
Yeah, they're on Bandcamp. But they before Bandcamp existed, they published a couple CDs. So I had one of their albums maybe on CD, and then they sold their music like MP3s, like just from their website. And I think you could get their whole catalog for like $5 or something. So I paid them $5 and I just downloaded their MP3s, you know. Um, but now, like, and then that was in the old days where you could download MP3s and put them on your iPod, you know.
Hmm.
But now they're on Bandcamp, so I just listened to a couple albums on Bandcamp, you know.
That's great. Well, $5 for the whole catalog is pretty good deal.
Yeah. Well, I owned it once, so now like if I get it on Bandcamp, I'll have to pay them again.
Oh, okay. You bought it from their site.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if I have those anymore. Probably maybe on a hard drive somewhere, but maybe not, you know. Maybe on the iPod, but I got rid of it. I recycled it. So, you know.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, they're pretty
yeah.
good.
I'll be sure to check out Atomic
Atomic Bitchwax. It's just all like
Bitchwax.
stoner riff rock, you know,
Okay. Cool.
right?
It's a good name.
It's just riffs constantly. It's kind of fun, you know,
Hmm.
right? So that was pretty good, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like a good inspiration um, for making some stoner rock.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I wanted to listen to the new UFO Mammut record. They're like a Italian doom metal band. They're pretty good. They're kind of psychedelic, you know. But and I thought they were coming out with a new album, and they are, but they only released one song on the album. So I listened to the one song, but I'm still waiting on their album. So it comes out sometime soon, but
Okay.
so maybe
Yeah, I've got a couple of those albums where like they've released like one or two songs on Bandcamp, and you have to wait for the album to come out.
yeah.
I hate waiting.
I think it's okay. I think that's the
Yeah.
way we used to do music, right? So I think it's all right.
Yeah. No, I mean I like that. That they're trying to generate a buzz on Bandcamp, and you'll definitely uh, hear back from them when the thing is available. Melody's Echo Chamber has a new album coming out. I'm not sure when, but that's a band that I like.
Yeah. Yeah. I like supporting Bandcamp. I saw another article. Remember that baritone guy, the Bun? He's got
Hmm.
a YouTube channel. He did a breakdown of like making money as a musician, like in he calls it like super niche music. I think doom metal is like more popular than super niche these days, but
Hmm.
it isn't
Yeah.
pop, right? But he kind of broke it down, and I was surprised that at the numbers that he gave for his music sales, right? And he said he has a couple albums. He's got like 4 albums on Bandcamp, and then he also streams the songs right on streaming services. And he said he made like $660 or 665 on Bandcamp, but he made like $65 streaming.
Hmm.
Which kind of surprised me, right? Streaming is like, and it actually doesn't surprise me because streaming is just doesn't make any money, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean that's the joke, like the joke that Trevor Noah made about Neil Young taking his music off of Spotify was that he's going to miss those $6 checks every month.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we got to get rid of that streaming music. It was just such a terrible idea.
Hmm.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like the people at the streaming service at the top are making more money than the people at the top of Bandcamp too. And I think that
Oh,
says a lot
absolutely.
about the economic model that they have, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's bad for you to have a streaming service because then you don't really own anything. I mean, I don't buy a lot of the music that I listen to on Bandcamp, but if I really like it and I want to hear it again, I'm going to buy it. Um, I don't think people on Spotify generally buy music because what do you get for buying it? I mean, you can listen to it when your internet is out or something. I don't know.
Well, maybe you can't, right? Because unless paying for it allows you to download it, because you know if it's a streaming service and the internet is off, you can't get it, you know?
Right,
You can't
right.
stream
But I
it.
mean, yeah, people never buy they don't go to iTunes and download, they don't buy music to download unless um, un- I mean, if they have a streaming service.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like too the streaming service, like people don't listen to the album; they just listen to songs kind of piecemeal, like
Hmm.
right? They're not like I'm going to listen to one band or one group of music,
Right.
right? You know. So anyway, so I'm big again. We're big Bandcamp fans, so I'm sticking with Bandcamp for now. And then I think their app just got a little better too. They added that thing where you can create playlists. I haven't used it yet though, so I gotta actually should try that out.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. It was just like a couple weeks ago. A friend of mine said, "I wish you could make playlists on Bandcamp." And at the time, I was like, "Well, they just got bought by um, a big gaming company. I can't remember which one, but maybe they'll add that." And then they did.
Yeah, they just added it. I see the feature on the app, but I haven't used it.
I haven't used it either. I've still been listening to albums, but I think it's cool that you can do it. Um,
Oh, it
uh,
looks like they were bought by Epic.
Epic Games, right? Epic Games that I don't they do like World of Warcraft or something?
I don't know. Actually, oh, I gotta go read. I gotta go read up on that. Hey, well, why don't we call it a day? Got any final words for our devoted followers, all 12 of them?
Well, um, yeah, we should check the numbers. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more. I don't know. But in any case, thank you all for watching this, and we'll be back next week with another one. Later.